It feels so good to be doing this, but I think it was very necessary. So welcome
Indeed.
back to Real Talk with the Six Man. I am your host, the Six Man, and we consider this the Real Talk Podcast. I don't take anything from anybody else who may say that their podcast is real talk, but I can guarantee you this is gonna be some real talk. I got a guest today that's not a let me see. This is not her first time, and
No.
she's been on the show a couple times. We had a
Yes.
couple lives that we did, and I think the last one that we did was kind of thought provoking, and we talked on the phone, and I just thought that it would be nice for the people and the residents of the District of Columbia to hear from somebody that's one in the community,
Hmm.
serving the community, and three that's really for the community, regardless if you know if it doesn't seem like it, right? So my guest tonight is ANC Robbie Woodland. Miss
Yes.
Robbie, how you doing?
I am good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm good. I'm good. So first and foremost, I just want people to know who you are, and kind of give us a little bit of background of why you wanted to serve the people of Washington D.C.
Okay. Well, I am a three-term elected official. I have always had some form of employment in dealing with community service. I worked for two of the collaboratives here in Washington, D.C. When I first started getting involved into community service, I was working with the Far Southeast Family Strengthening Collaborative, where Dion Reeder was my supervisor. Then I was working on the community engagement department, and I've been in the mental health field as a case manager for about 25 years.
Okay.
I do have my own businesses right now, and working for myself, but that's a little bit background on me.
Okay. And so what about, the ANC commissioner? Like a lot of people may hear that term, but they don't necessarily know exactly what that means. So what does an ANC commissioner do?
Okay, so here in Ward 8, now that we've had the redistricting, we have different commissions from A through F. So A, B, C, D, E, F. So we have six different commissions, right? And then inside the commissions is further broken down to the commissioners. So we have six individual commissions as a whole in Ward 8. And then, like on my commission is 8C, and it's based off of where you live in the ward. And you're supposed to only have about 2,000 residents. I have a little more than 2,000, probably about 2,500. Um, you know, because it can go higher depending on who moves in your particular single member district. So
Okay.
I'm on the 8C commission. We have eight commissioners, and it's broken down from 8C01 all the way to 8C08, and I'm currently 8C06. So under the redistricting, my area has gotten a lot smaller. It was a lot bigger. It went down Martin Luther King Avenue just a bit, and the 311 call center, the 911 call center, and that the 801 East shelter, all of that used to be in my area. But now my area is pretty much shaped like a box.
Okay.
So it's just parts of Alabama Avenue, um, two streets in Congress Park, and then it comes down to Mississippi Avenue and back up 10th Place, Alabama. So I
Okay.
sit, that's the outline of it, and everything within that area is
A-
mine.
and how well do the residents know Robbie Woodland?
Oh, they know me very well. They know
Okay.
me very well. They can call me. I come right out to them. I get calls often, not a whole lot. Um, I mainly get calls about Congress Park or areas within my single member district that are considered high crime, which isn't many in my direct single member district, not anymore after the redistricting. So Congress Park is the highest crime area that I have. And then you may have, certain things happening in some of the alleys, that's in my area, but not as bad as Congress Park, no.
Okay. Okay. And
Mhm.
so let's dive into this a little bit because we know that the guy on Pennsylvania Avenue kind of used his authority to subject DC to this DC takeover. and
Okay.
this DC Home Rule. So I was doing some research and I saw that the DC Home Rule Act was passed by Congress in 1973,
Yep. The year
which,
I was born.
yeah, which to me doesn't seem like too far gone, right? Like not too long ago, you know. And so
51 years.
yeah, so in my opinion, like I've heard conversations about, oh, it's not that bad. People saying that it's bad in the 90s, it was this, in the early 80s, it was that. And so in your opinion, just before we get started, in your opinion, did you think that, not just because it was him, because we don't really want to talk about him, but did you think that the National Guard was necessary?
I'm kind of on the fence with it.
Let's
And
be honest.
yeah, I'm on the fence with it, and I'll tell you why. Because for years we have reached out to our mayor, and the mayor, every after the first of every year, the mayor will have like this meeting somewhere around February or March, where she invites all of the commissioners to this meeting, and she wants talk about the crime rates and things that need to be done, and she wants us to give her feedback. And we go to these meetings, we give feedback, but nothing never happens. When you send her emails and her entire team, no one replies from her office. Now we have what is called mochas, and they are our contact to the mayor, and that changes every 2 years. You'll have a new one, so their position is for 2 years, and then they move on to something else in DC government, and then you'll have a new representative for the mayor that comes in. And she, the one that we have, I know Wendy Glenn. She's good. She used to be Trayon's community outreach person. So I know her. And so she's our go-to. But to try to get the mayor's attention, it doesn't happen. Now when she comes into our ward, it's either to come into our ward for ribbon cutting on some type of development, or come into our ward when it's time to vote, and she's going around to different voting precincts.
I mean, I've seen her, over the years
Hmm.
show up when it's been, extreme. I don't want to say tragedy, but if it's something, violent that happened and it's all over the news, I've seen her kind of show up sometimes in those various, instances. But why do you think that she's not showing up for y'all? You all are elected officials in DC. So what would be her reasoning not to show up for y'all when you all are the people that are the conduit between her and the people?
Well, I believe that Ward 8 is a lot different than any other ward in this city. Ward 7 and 8. We are probably the most two aggressive wards in this city. And because there is so much that happens in this city, when the residents here are able to see her in person, it's a lot that comes out. It's a lot. And I don't think that she wants to or know how to deal with the type of aggression that comes at her when she comes over here to this ward. Because we have some aggressive residents over here in Wards 8, and 7. So when they do get the chance to see her, it's no filter. They go right in. They tell her what problems and everything they are experiencing, what they feel needs to be done. And for the most part, I just feel like it may be overwhelming for her to hear all of that. But to not address it at all,
Right,
is very problematic.
right,
I feel like, which we haven't seen since Trump has taken over, there's been no real town hall meetings. Like the council members, they all need to get together and have a huge town hall about where we are. And there isn't any of that that's taking place right now. She need to have a big meeting about where we are. Like, we shouldn't have to see all of this play out in the news. Talk
right,
to your residents, the people who voted you in. I didn't vote for her.
right.
The last two terms I haven't voted for her. But we need her to have a meeting with us and talk, and she hasn't been open to do that.
And I mean, why would you think that she wouldn't want to talk to y'all? You guys are her people, her people again, to get to the people. If you guys bring her the concerns of the people, why wouldn't she want to, get with you all to figure out, what's going on? I mean, I can understand. I mean, I'm a Ward A, I was a Ward A resident for
Hmm.
over 40 years, so I get it when you say, our ward is one of those wards that's aggressive.
Yeah, we're aggressive.
Definitely get
Well,
it in, but we do have great people there. I tell people all the time that I'm proud of being from Southeast DC. I tell I hear people say this DMV thing, and it's no disrespect to DMV. It's no disrespect to that. I said, but when I grew up, it was DC. It wasn't a DMV thing. Either you was from
exactly.
DC, either you was from
Right.
Maryland, or you was from Virginia. Now
Hmm.
they just lumping it all together. So when I see people and they say, "Hey, where you from?" I say, "Oh, I'm from DC." "Oh, you from
Hmm.
the DMV?" "Nah, I'm from DC."
Hmm.
And then I get more specific and say, "I'm from Southeast DC." And so
Hmm.
it may go over their head or whatever, but even though, you know, each sector of the city has its concerns, ups and downs. And,
Hmm.
and it's crazy that you said 7 and 8, Ward 7 and 8, because I was listening to the guy at Pennsylvania Avenue, his press secretary. She said
Hmm.
it's going to be specifically going to Ward 7 and 8, and I was just like, wow, that's interesting. I mean, out of
Hmm.
all the wards in DC, y'all just going to Ward 7 and 8, but we kind of know why. We kind of know why.
Right. Because we are the fuck around and find out wards. We're the most we are the most outspoken wards in this city.
Yes,
Okay?
indeed.
That's what it is. And it's not that I feel like the only reason the National Guard is needed in our city is because the decision making officials have failed to address the issues of violence. And people just want peace at this moment, right? They want peace. They want to be able to live in their neighborhoods in peace. Over here in Ward 8, it's like baby Iraq. You'll hear shooting 3 or 4 times out of the night. And we know that in our city, it only takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get from one side of the city to the next side of the city in almost all directions, right? In
Right,
almost all directions, depending on traffic.
right.
So I can be in my apartment right here where I'm at on Mississippi Avenue, and I can hear shooting that's taking place all the way up by Willow Road, all the way around Condon Terrace. I can
Wow.
hear the shooting that far away, up to like a mile away. And then some people, if they hear shooting over here, they'll call me like, Robbie, I just heard shooting. Yeah, it's in the park. And God forbid if anybody gets shot in Oxen Run Park, you won't find them at night. It's not well lit. You won't find them until the morning.
Right.
Yeah. So in a way, it's needed only because it hasn't been addressed. But for me, I'm more worried about what else is going to bring. Like,
Right.
if this is a situation of pick a nigga, any nigga,
Right.
then no, I
Right.
definitely don't want that.
Right.
Now, if you're trying to really address the crime and not target us as individuals, then I'm all for addressing the crime, right? But I'm not for you're coming into our communities and call yourself trying to do what I would call an ethnic cleansing of our people who live here, right? And when
Right.
you had that guy who supposedly had gotten assaulted, Big Balls, the
Mm-hmm.
little white guy,
Mm-hmm.
who's with the Trump administration, I
Mm-hmm.
went up there and I recorded. I wanted to know where the cameras was for the incident that happened, and it's not surprising there's been nothing on the news. Where's
Right.
the video footage? It happened directly in front of a camera. I don't feel like that situation happened at all. I don't feel like he was assaulted at all. If anything, maybe they told him he got to take one for the team. They beat his ass, dropped him off right there, and had him call 911 to make it seem like he got assaulted right there. Because if it really happened like that and it happened directly in front of a ring camera, and you saw my videos, I walked on every angle up there to see where
Mm-hmm.
cameras was. So you saw my videos. It happened directly in front of that address that had the ring camera. Where's the footage?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was doing some digging and I saw um that there was a call for the National Guard in 2021 for
Mm-hmm.
for the January insurrection, and they gave Muriel Bowser all this back and forth, and we don't think you need it, and all of that. And then I saw another instance in
Because
that
these
was
are planned
2021.
attacks by white people.
Correct. That was in 2021. Then I saw it says August of 2023, a specific DC council member considered calling in the National Guard, and I think that was Trayon for the violence, and it was rejected. And then
Mm.
now, 2025, after this incident that you just spoke of, now it's yeah, we need to get the National Guard down there. But my thing is, you've been in office since January,
Mm.
and you wait until August to do this.
Because he has to have, see, and a lot of people don't, in order for him to completely take over the city like he wants to, he has to have a legal reason to do so. That's why I feel that this guy was quote unquote supposedly attacked, right? Because he needs a reason to take over the city. He has to have a reason. He can't just say, oh, I'm gonna take it over because I want to. No, he has to have a legitimate reason, whatever reason to use, other than someone who's in his camp got assaulted, got beat the crap out of for supposedly trying to defend some woman from being attacked by 7 black guys. This is the case of pick a nigga, any nigga. Did you see the photo that they
Yes,
released?
yes,
Okay. Did you look at that photo? That guy looked like he was just waiting at a bus stop and somebody came up to him and snapped 2 pictures.
yeah,
His face looked like, what are you doing?
yeah,
That's what it looked like to me.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden you're plastering this picture all over. This is a person of interest, and you all trying to find them. I said, yeah, don't turn them in, because we don't know what dangers this administration brings for people of color.
right,
We don't know. We don't
right.
know what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't believe any of that. He needed a reason to take over the city, and he put one together.
And the home rule, I kind of was reading through it, and then specifically it says the aspects of 740, the section 740 was the section that gives the president authority to call upon the mayor to deploy the Metropolitan Police Department during emergencies. And so
Hmm.
I saw that the mayor and her AG, got together with their two teams and collaborated together and figured out a way to have them rewrite what was going on so that
Of course she
chief,
did.
so that way the chief can still be in charge of the DC Police Department versus the individual that they designated from the DNA from the DEA. And so I thought that, to me, it sounded like, okay, this is her fighting for the city. But then when I did more digging, I was like, yeah, this is not really her fighting for the city though. This is just her being able to be in front of the camera, because I follow this. I follow a few veterans online, right? And
Hmm.
I saw a veteran talking to a police officer who was actually there on January 6th, and he talked about his circumstance of the day, and he said that out of his mouth, the police officer, he was like, Muriel Bowser is com- capitulating. Is that what he said? Capitulating. Think he used the term capitulating. But what he was saying
Hmm.
was, it was sad to see that she um dismantled the Black Lives Matter street because of funding, and found out that she did it and they still withhold funds. Like, it's so many things that people are saying that she just, doesn't stand up for DC, because I heard somebody saying in one of my posts that if this was Marion Barry, this would not be happening. So, like, is she really doing something, or isn't she?
Well, she's in a rock and a hard place right now. Seriously, she really is in a situation. Because we are not a state. So that's the biggest thing, right? Me personally, I am completely against statehood, because I know that once we become a state, we're going to become a commonwealth, and then the resources that people even move to the city for is going to be gone. We are going to end up being like Maryland and DC, and they don't really have the resources that DC, I mean Maryland and Virginia, and they don't have the resources there like we have in Washington, D.C. But she is in a very, very tough spot because we are not a state. So, yeah, she's in a tough spot. Now, they did try to get statehood one time and it passed one portion of the House and not the other. But I can't find anywhere where there has been um, any type of constitutional amendment so that we can become a state. So to me, when I hear about statehood, I feel like it's kind of like a hoax because in order to get it, you have to amend the Constitution. You cannot turn DC into a state without amending the Constitution. So if you can't have a constitutional amendment, trying to force DC to become a state is also illegal because that creates a super bill. So you can't do it that way. Have to have a constitutional amendment, and you'll never be able to find one because I've been looking. I haven't found one.
And I've been discussing this with a few people, and I think the last time me and you spoke about it, you mentioned something about all of the being on federal land.
Well, the White House is on federal land. So some people think that all of Washington, D.C. is federal land, but it is not. All of Washington, D.C. is not federal land. But the White House is in Washington, D.C. Now, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, unless they can put a Dorito sized triangle around that White House, DC will never be able to be a state. Like you got to remember, DC was, I mean, the White House was first in New York. And when it was in New York, I don't believe it was a state there either. And
Mhm.
then it was moved to Philadelphia. I think it was the same way. And then it came here to Washington, D.C. So a lot of people don't even know that the White House hasn't always even been in Washington, D.C. It was two other places before it reached here.
Wow. And I would honestly say that not all, but I can imagine a lot of people did not know that.
Yeah.
That's
So
whew.
we're in a pickle right now because we're not a state. But more than that, we're in a pickle like we are in because these decision making elected officials care more about relationships with each other and other entities or whatever else they're involved in more than they do about the people who live here in Washington D.C. It shouldn't take for no racist white man to come to our city to tell us what it is we need to have done, especially when you have people like myself, you have people like Nene Tay, who was a part of Black Lives Matter, and now she has her own thing, Harriet's Wildest Dream. You have people like Eben Allen who ring the alarm, Sandra Seegers, Joseph Johnson, Anthony Muhammad. I mean, it can go on and on. You have individuals here that ring the alarm and let you know what needs to be done here in this city. And when we go ignored and nothing happens and they don't feel like it's that detriment, then this is the outcome. This is their fault.
So she recently just did a press conference, and she
Hmm.
was making it clear that they have a plan to be removed from this emergency. Saying they technically aren't in an emergency, but they have a plan in place so that way they can, be done with the National Guard and use whatever federal resources that they may have. But I heard her say that we have a plan and we do not need, um, you know, technically the National Guard to be here, but we will, utilize our resources. And so I think that the 30 days is up like next week or we got the next. And so
Right.
what I'm trying to
By
figure out,
September the 10th.
yes. So what I'm trying to figure out is it the 10th? Yeah. So what I'm trying to figure out is what things are being put in place or what things are being talked about now to kind of help DC rebound from what's going on.
We don't know what they're talking about. They haven't met with us.
Wow.
So we have no idea what they're talking about doing. We don't know. We're waiting just like everybody else is waiting to see what this outcome is going to be. If I would guess, I would think that she's probably going to put in place some type of emergency legislation of her own maybe to try to bypass Congress for a minute, because in order for any laws that she want to put into place to actually be in place, they have to go in front of the House. The House has to approve it, right? That's the only way it's going to be a law. But what she can do is she can put in place emergency legislation that can either last 90 days or 120 days. She could put that in place on her own here in the District of Columbia, and it doesn't have to go to Congress. It only has to go to the House when it's going to become an actual law. So maybe that's the ticket she's going to use. However, I don't know. I'm just assuming that that's probably what she's going to use. I mean, I feel like that's probably her only play.
Mm. I just feel like she mentioned this this I guess is called a driver's ed program for allowing first time drivers to get taught how to drive. And I I heard it and I was just like, okay. I mean, that might not be a bad idea, but why are we talking about that right now?
What does that have to do? That has nothing to do with with the price of tea in China. You know what I mean? Like it does. That has nothing. I'm not even. The only thing I'm worried about right now is black people,
Right.
and I don't care how that sounds to anybody, because we see what happens when you have too many individuals with the same mindset
Yep.
that are in these decision making roles, and how
Yep.
detrimental it can be. It's way more serious, I believe, than people even realize. Because at the same time, he's acting as though he's trying to be a helping hand to the district when it comes to the violence. But I guarantee you, it's going to bring some other stuff with it, because he is literally dismantling our history right before our eyes. So this is not a person who's offering to help us because he want to really check on our well-being. In my opinion, what he's trying to do is have a reason to call for martial law here in the District of Columbia. But he's not getting the feedback that he thought he was going to get. He thought by sending the National Guard in that everyone was going to be irate, that everyone was going to be explosive. Maybe they'll even start pulling out guns and you can start shooting them. Like, he has literally told them, you can do whatever you
Whatever
want to
you
do with
want.
these people,
Yep.
and you will not have to face any type of consequences for it. So you know what I did? Because I've been out several times. I only recorded me going out once. I've been around to all of these areas talking to these guys. Do not give them what they want.
Right.
Exercise your right to remain silent and get their badge names and everything. Because contrary to what these people believe, because they are taking an order by the president, you still have to follow by the US Constitution.
Right.
So when you still violate the rights, well, guess what? We can't do anything to you because you're acting on behalf of the president, but we can do something to you in your name. We can sue you and put a lien on all your shit if we have to.
Mm.
So I was very clear when I talked to a lot of these young guys. This is how they coming for you. They want you out the way.
Hmm.
Exercise your right to remain silent. Now, some of them haven't exercised their right to remain silent, but they're not getting bucked like they thought they was. I mean, they'll video record you.
They
I
got
mean, you
them
see it.
cameras out though.
Yeah,
They
they
got them.
video recording everything. They joning, they laughing,
Yeah.
and everything. I tell you, boy, our people know how to have a good
Man.
time,
Man.
regardless, right? But yeah, that's what he wanted. He wanted a certain type of reaction from black people, and he didn't get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I? So I want to go over some of these executive orders. I'm gonna read a few of them, but then one I want to kind of talk about because I think we were on the we were talking on the phone when we saw it pop up the other day. So I just want to like read some of his executive orders, and then I found out that executive orders don't necessarily mean that that's the end all be all. They still have to go through,
Approval.
process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So
Hmm.
one of his executive orders, well, a few of his executive orders, this is enabling competition in commercial space industry. Okay, that's one. And then he has another one that's ensuring American pharmaceutical supply chain resilience by filing the Strategic Active Pharmaceutical Ingredients Reserve. I was like, what the hell is that? And then this one is additional measures to address the crime emergency in the District of Columbia. I'm assuming that that has something to do with what's going on now. And then
Mm-hmm.
another one saying that it's improving our nation's, improving our nation through better design. And so this one caught my attention because I read a story that he was planning on, or he's planning on building a ballroom in the White House that cost $200 million.
You're dealing with a psychopath right now. Like, you are literally dealing with a psychopath right now. Everything that he promised his supporters,
What
he
the
has already
fuck?
went back on all of it.
$200 million for a ballroom? Who gonna be in the ballroom?
Him and all his personalities.
All right, so let me see. This one is prosecuting burning of the American flag. So I did see a video of a white guy a couple days ago burned the flag. He got arrested, then he got out, and he was recorded. And it was supposed to be he was supposed to be in jail for a year, but he got out and was like it was no issue. So I'm like, so these executive
He,
orders, like, are
was
they
he white
real?
or black?
He was white, and,
Well, there you go.
and he was a veteran, and he was a veteran.
Uh-huh.
So even still, I just feel like, if you saying one thing, oh yeah, you burn a flag, you got to do a year in jail. Well, how did this individual get out and not have to do a year in jail? I mean, I don't.
Because just because he put an executive order in place, it doesn't mean that it's law. So they have to vote on it to be law. And they have to vote on it. Everybody don't have to be present. So it's like when they vote on these things, they're only going to count the votes of the people that are present at the time, right?
Okay,
And what you're probably going to start hearing probably really soon is that he's going to probably start trying to have these people vote when there is no Democrats around.
right,
When Democrats are going to be absent, they're
right,
going to be out of town. He probably going to try to push a vote or something like that. He's going to go against. He's already going against the U.S. Constitution, so we can't expect him to play fairly. Not to mention, he has, I think right now, and don't quote me, I believe right now in Congress, there are about 219 Republicans and only about 212 Democrats.
that's not
So the Democrats are outweighed. And then for the Senate, there is about 53 Republicans, I believe, and probably about 45, don't quote me, but probably about 45 Democrats. And I believe the Senate still has at least 4 vacant seats as well, right? So unless when these people run again for their seats, um, unless they lose their seats, we're going to be in trouble, baby. I mean, because this is only the ninth month, and look where we are,
right,
and we got 3 more years of it.
right.
So we're going to be in trouble.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
we're going to be in trouble.
I'm gonna come back to that, but I want to
Mhm.
talk about this one because this is the one that you said was going to be a motherfucker. Excuse my French, but
Mhm.
he's taking steps to end cashless bill to protect Americans. What the fuck does that even mean?
So I don't know why he say that's to protect Americans, but here in the District of Columbia, you don't have to have a bond necessarily to get out of jail. You can get released on your personal recognizance. He's trying to get rid of that. That's what he's trying to do. So
And
he's
you
trying
have
to.
to pay to get out of jail.
Yes, he's trying to put it where you have to have a bond in order to get out of jail, but then you don't know how they're going to determine how much you have to pay for a bond. So it's like when he puts this in place, he also have to develop fees for this. Like, what charges are you going to allow what type of fee for? And I'm pretty sure it's going to be high as hell because Even though we do have some Caucasians that go to jail, we have a lot of individual persons of color here that go to jail to get out on their personal recognizance. Now, but here's the thing too. Our criminal system needs a complete overhaul.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
So when people say the police don't do nothing in DC, it's not because they don't want to, they can't. Because the laws that we are living under is from 1921.
Right.
We have advanced so
Right.
much further since 1921.
Right.
So our laws need to reflect our current way of life, and they don't. Now, they did try to do that. Anybody can look up what's called the revised criminal code that they tried to
Right here.
pass in like 2022.
Mm-hmm.
My colleagues and I, myself, Sandra Seegers, Anthony Muhammad, Sandra Seegers had gotten a copy of that, about 900 and something pages from Anita Bond's office. We divided it all up. It wasn't just us three. We divided up with like a bunch of us under Crave, Sandra Seegers' platform Crave. We divided it all up and we read through it. And we met back together to go over what we read. And what we determined was that that new revised DC criminal code was going to put us in in a bunch of shit. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't protecting us at all. And we decided to contact members of Congress to get it kicked out. And we did. We managed to get it kicked out.
What's up?
So when the mayor got these attorneys together to revise our criminal code, and she sent this over to the council members, one of the first things we wanted to do was reach out to each and every last council member and asked, like, did you read it? And we were very, very surprised to find out that they were trying to pass a criminal code on us that they never even read themselves. They didn't read it at all. They couldn't tell us nothing about what was in this criminal code. When we asked to have meetings with them and go over some of this stuff, they couldn't tell us anything. So we felt it would have been better to have it kicked out. And just for the people that's going to be viewing, I'll give you a little bit about what was in the code. So one of the things was, let's say, for example, if a woman is jogging and a person attempts to rob her, but then rapes her also. If when that person is caught, if that person said, yeah, I robbed her, my intention was to rob her, but not to rape her, that was not my intent. As long as they say that whatever crime they committed against you was not their intent, then it's up to you to prove what the intent was. And that goes for children
What?
also. Yes. Under that new revised criminal code, if anything happened to you, regardless of what it was, if the person when caught said that whatever happened was not their intent, it'll be up to the victim to prove what intent was in order for that person to be convicted. They even tried to, let's go a little further.
What?
They even tried to redo what sentencing is for murder. So God forbid, you have a child and you're dating someone and that person killed your child. Well, as long as they were not the biological parent, they wouldn't get a whole lot of time for the murder because it wasn't their biological child. Whereas if the parent killed their biological child, they'll get a whole lot of time. So it was things like that. Even when, let's say, if you had a noise complaint and you call 911, maybe somebody in your building or your neighbor, look, they're having a wild party. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's this, that, and the third. Under that new law, the police will come to your house and get you because you called and take you with them to whoever you were talking about.
Wow. What?
Yes. They even changed spitting in somebody's face or using someone's urine or feces. If they threw it on you, it wasn't going to be a crime. And here's another one, because I have cameras all in my house. So let's say if someone broke into your home and the camera caught them, no mask, no nothing, you can identify them because you see them on camera. Well, guess what? Underneath that new law that they were trying to push, if you didn't see it with your own eyes, They couldn't be arrested for it.
Even though you got them on camera.
Even though you had them on camera.
My Lord.
And not only that, they were also trying to charge individuals who videotape. You use your phone to record any crime that was being committed, knowing that individuals sometimes they don't want to intervene, but they'll record what's happening, and that's
Right.
how a lot of cases get solved. They wanted to charge you with a misdemeanor for recording the crime on your phone.
And I think that's very I'm trying to find the right word. But I'm gonna just say I think that's fucked up that it's a lot of shit that's going on with different police departments. Now, one of our technologies that we have at school is a phone. And now when we record you doing your job, if you're not doing your job right, we at fault and we get arrested because we record you do your job fucked up.
Right.
Like I
I
don't get
mean, anybody can contact what's that TV show that come on and they be showcasing all the murders and stuff. First 48.
First 48.
You can contact First 48. Ask those executives how many times they offered for DC to be a part of First 48 and it's always been turned down because they don't solve no crimes here. And if they on camera, they got to actually do some work.
Ouch. That
Yeah.
just feels a little bit.
Yeah. DC has received several offers to be on the First 48, and
Oh.
all of the offers have been refused. All of them. All of them. And
And,
you have all kinds of states participating in being on First 48, not DC.
and I actually had because see when people see when I talk, I may talk shit, I may whatever, but when I talk, people think that I'm just just talking, and so
Hmm.
sometimes I have to remind people that I know people who are current police officers, whether they MPD, Maryland, state trooper, Virginia, like I know people, right? And so
Hmm.
I had a police officer send me some articles, and two of the articles stating that some of the crime that they said that was on the low in DC, that a lot of the cases were being, reclassified as something else. So it didn't look like it was actually a crime. I was like, what?
They definitely do that. Let me tell you, when we was working on the work on trying to fix the area of individuals hanging out in front of the Giant. And mind you, back then when I was doing that, I was always making videos of me being at the Giant, posting pictures of me being up there, like showing the difference between the strategy that we implemented. Because the strategy we implemented was you don't shop, you don't stop. And we moved completely off the property down by the apartment buildings because that was the only place we could move it. Like if you need transportation, you gotta walk over there and get it. We had worked with P Chains and the general manager of Giant and WC Smith. And I said, listen, we have a strategic plan. We want to put it in place and we feel like it'll work. And it did work, right? And the individuals who were there hanging out, they were really upset because that's the perfect place to sell drugs.
Right.
Nobody's looking at you because everybody's going grocery shopping.
Right.
So that's the perfect place, not unless you make yourself stand out. So
Right.
you have individuals that'll sit in their car all day and people knew to walk over to their car and buy the drugs, or they'll come walking around and people will buy it. So it was a real drug market going on up there. And we disturbed that market. Well, these individuals found out where I lived. And when I came out my building one day, they tried to hit me with their car. And then when I got in my car, they started chasing me in my car. And I made sure that I went past every light that I can possibly go past, every place I know there's a camera, all of that. I even ran through red lights so that I can get a ticket on my car because I know they coming through the light with me and they're going to get a ticket on their car. So we can identify who came through that light, who got a ticket after me,
Right.
all of this. But when I had like whipped around to do some type of U-turn on Alabama Avenue, when I did that, I ended up getting the license plate number. And I got the license plate number. I went to the 7th district. I reported it, gave them the license plate number, and told them that they were shooting at me from the car. They classified it as miscellaneous. Then when I talked to the detective who had the case, he said that the license plate was an actual license plate number. It was a fake plate. It was Virginia plates, hard plates. And it said it was a fake plate.
And
And
I mean that's okay that it was a Virginia plate. That's okay that fake plate or whatever the case may be. But how many other people are incidents happening and they're taking the time to report it, and DC police aren't doing it?
but this is what they do. When the mayor said that DC crime is at a 30-year low, that is a lie. DC crime is not at a 30-year low. You can sit here and hear shooting all night long going on over here in Ward 8. Okay? These are the two most violent wards in this city, Ward 8 and Ward 7. Now, you may have some crimes and shootings other places, but it really goes down over here. And you have shootings several times a day out here. So, no,
Right.
those stats were wrong. Those numbers was fudged and everything. Mm-mm. And then there's already been an officer accused of fudging those numbers before. So, that data is all wrong.
And so that leads me to believe, like, even still, with the gun task force,
Hmm.
all special task force they have in the city, it's like, what does DC gain to say, hey, we're not that violent, but the residents will say otherwise?
I don't know what they would gain from it, from changing those numbers, because there's money in the violence here in this city.
Yeah, to me, I don't know. To me, I just feel like it's a lot where
You have the violence interruption programs in this city. These contracts are like
yeah,
$1 million.
I didn't. So see, me being a co-founder of a nonprofit that's registered in the state of Maryland and in Florida, that's
Hmm.
something that I didn't really want to discuss because it's under my skin. Because
Yeah.
like, even when it's time for us to, apply for certain grants and certain things, it's so much red tape that they give us because we're established nonprofit. I mean, we got established in I want to say 2020. I believe it was either 20. I think it was 2020 or 2021. Too old, but there's so much red tape and this, that, and the third. And then it's like, when we see other nonprofits, like you say, getting millions of dollars from the Attorney General's office. Listen, I'm not stepping on no toes. I'm not, but I'm just like, but what are y'all really doing? I mean, when we see these violence interrupters, or some of them being arrested on TV with your violence interrupter shirt on and being charged for murder, I'm like, and they're getting millions of dollars. Like,
Yep.
so it's a lot of stuff that I just don't understand. I understand that politics, has its own, demons or processes or whatever, that's
Yeah.
behind closed doors. Because the thing that happened with Trayon, all I can say, oh, this man for years, this man, but just because it's been happening for years, does that make it right? Like,
It don't make it right. But you know what I'm gonna say. This is what I call intracolonialism. It's intercolonialism, not an actual term, something I made up, but it's intercolonialism because this is what happens within our own government. When your own government treats you this way, it should be considered domestic terrorism to
right,
me.
right,
Because this is happening by them. This is happening by people that you vote into office, that you're trusting, that they are going to do the right thing by you. It's like your vote is like your first time sexual experience. Once you give it away, you can't get it back. You
true.
can't say, you know what, I changed my mind. I want my vote back. I'd rather put my vote over here. You can't do that. You see what I'm saying? But it's been happening for so long, and people know that these things happen in our ward, and they just look over it because they care more about the relationship that they have with an individual instead of, are they doing right by these
Repeat.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't, and I mean, and even if somebody watches this, I don't want nobody to think that I don't think that any other work that some of the people are doing out there is going, under the radar. Because uh, uh, I know a lot that's doing some good work in the community and not necessarily getting the funding that they need, right? And
Yeah.
I have,
And it's unfair because
yeah,
you got a lot of people here and over here, and you got a lot of people in Washington D.C. period that do good work, and
yes,
they should be able to get funding, but
yes,
they can't because it's so cliquish.
yes,
It's like you have to belong to like this little inner
yeah,
circle in order to get the funding that you need, and
yeah.
you have to not only belong to that inner circle, but when you see something, you can't say nothing. You got to overlook it. You got to act like it don't exist.
Wait, but didn't somebody win? Didn't somebody recently in their last term win, and that was their slogan? Be something, say something.
Say something. Yeah, Trayon, he won again. He
So I
did.
mean, to me, I still focus on what our is and what we want to stay focused on that, and we take a grassroots approach and we go to individuals and organizations to find out. We don't want to come to you and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." We ask them, hey, "What do you like? What do you need from us?" It could be something that we
But
haven't
see
even thought of.
now, what's happening now, it completely goes beyond that. We are in danger, and a lot of us don't realize it. The goal of all of this stuff, the goal of this administration is slavery. What
Yeah,
do you think make America great again mean? Who was it great for?
right,
Do you understand?
right,
Like it is serious. And
yeah,
you have all of these races. He has literally on election night. Now, wait a minute, let's go back a little further. When the reversal of Roe versus Wade
yeah,
happened,
yes,
I said, here comes the bullshit.
yeah,
They are planning
yeah,
something against us.
yeah,
When they did that reversal, they don't care how many kids we as brown women have. They don't care because in their minds, we're always going to be beneath them. They can always keep us underfoot. It's about the Caucasian women. Their bloodline is dying off. Their race is dying off. They had to figure out a way to prevent them from getting abortions.
right,
So they reversed Roe versus Wade, making it now illegal for you to get an abortion. And it's only because of the white race. Like I said, they don't care anything else about any other culture out here, any other race. It's because their race is dying off. Women are not having babies in their race like women have babies in ours.
right,
So they reversed it. Another thing was, if you remember election night, on election night, 6 Republican senators lost their seats. I said, oh, this motherfucker is playing chess. He got 6 people that he wanted to be in office so that he can start the takeover.
right,
All of these people that he has an allegiance to him.
yes,
So you got all of these individuals that are racist, that have taken their hoods off of their heads. They are publicly saying DC needs an ethnic cleansing. What do you think that means? That
mm,
means that they need to, by death, get rid of us.
mm-hmm.
That's what that means. Like, this is how serious it is right now. But people are too busy planning their next trip,
Yep,
trying to buy their bundles of hair,
yep,
online twerking,
yep,
arguing back and forth with whomever.
mhm,
We don't need that right now. We don't need that. But the best thing about all of that is this right here. Even though we may feel like we are powerless against what's happening, we are actually mightier than them because the power of our dollar.
yep,
Us as African Americans, and I call myself an Aboriginal African American because my peoples was already here before Christopher Columbus, and they made it with those who were in slavery, and that's how I came to be, right? Our
hmm,
peoples was Indians, they were already here. And I'm talking about the real Indians, the dark skinned Indians,
yeah,
us, not Native American stuff,
yeah,
Aboriginals, us,
right,
okay? The thing about that is, and you can look it up, the data for it, African Americans have $2 trillion spending power. If they haven't changed it, because you know they've been changing everything about us on the internet now, right?
Yeah.
Some things you can't find anymore. But
Right.
we have $2 trillion spending power per year, right? We got power in our dollar. We got power in our money. Do you know what would happen if every African American in this world only spent their money with each other? We will cause states to collapse without our dollar because we are spenders. But you know what else that let us know? That we are the majority. Because you can't be the biggest spenders in the world and the minority at the same time. It don't work like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you know
hmm
the old saying though, right? If was the fifth, we all be drunk.
Well, we all need to get motherfucking drunk because, baby, they coming for us. They
Yeah.
coming for us. And I don't know how anybody else feel. I'm never going to be nobody's slave. I'll die first. And
Nah.
I'll take a lot of them with me.
Yeah, I
I'm
feel.
not going to be nobody's slave. I ain't never been in no chains. I ain't never going.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, but it also make you wonder because this is something else that is never talked about. What did slavery look like for these individuals when they did the forced compliance the first time? And I'm willing to bet it looked like this right here.
Mm,
Start making them lose jobs.
mm-hmm.
Start taking away their health care.
Mm-hmm.
Start doing this, start doing that. They want to force you in compliance. They even probably forced white people in compliance who didn't even want to participate. We're going to force you into it. I'm willing to bet it looked like this.
But the Heritage Fund got a playbook.
Of course. And they've been working on that playbook always. But guess what, baby? I got a playbook too.
I know you told me.
I got a playbook too. This is why I'm working hard at trying to meet with these different individuals, especially individuals who have high influence, because we have a problem as a people. Now
Yeah.
let's speak truth to power. We're messed up.
Yeah.
We got to get it together.
I agree.
And we need to go back to what our great, I don't know if everybody was able to have a great grandma and great uncles and stuff in their families like I did, but they taught us how to maneuver in a room full of snakes. We got to go back to that. We got to go back to when your neighbors can tell your kids to stop doing whatever they was doing.
Yeah.
We got to go back to when we're going door to door and we're checking on our seniors or we're
Yeah.
checking on people and we holding our own food pantries. But
Right.
we got to go back to where we were hard workers
Right.
and we earned by the sweat of our brow.
Right.
And then spend your money with each other. And these black business owners, they need to come down on their prices
Ooh. Ooh, Lord. Ooh, Lord.
and have great customer service.
That's a whole nother conversation. Oh my God.
You know, because we need to be able to spend with our own people. But you can't be cooking dinners in your kitchen and you charging $60 and $70 for it.
So the owner of Active Black just had a whole he had a whole post about this, and I don't want to make but he was posting about how he has partnered with some black farmers to use cotton and using it with on their material, their clothes. And he said that now Ralph Lauren has a new black creative director in one of their fashion departments. And one of the t-shirts that he saw, I think he said it was $130. And he said, I haven't seen now one person argue about how much the t-shirt costs, but y'all telling me that my t-shirt costs too much. But we using cotton from black farmers and trying to
It's because our people are
but
so culturally conditioned.
it's
We're
crazy.
culturally conditioned. We are the only race of people. Let's go here. We are the only race of people where every other culture can make money off of us except
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
Let's go there. That's one. Everybody else can appropriate us
Dang.
except for us. They take away everything out here. Imagine if we stopped going to the beauty supply stores.
Oh yeah.
Because the people in the beauty supply stores who own them, they can't use the products on their hair.
Yep.
All of these research, some of these supposed to be companies that got the black people on the box.
They white owned.
They're white owned.
They white owned.
Yes, we have been so culturally conditioned. We got to get out of that. If we're going to survive as a people, as a race, we got to start relying on each
I,
other. That's the only way we're going to make it
I
through.
actually saw a video and a young lady was like, "Oh, you thought this was black owned?" And she was showing all of the CEOs of each company. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Now, how about this? We start appropriating their culture.
Right.
I like pho. I love eating pho, right? I should come out with pho real and start making my own pho. Okay? Because I like it so much, I started making it at home. Do you understand what would happen if we started appropriating all of their cultures?
No, I
That's
agree.
what we need to do.
They take everything from us and we don't get shit.
And we don't get nothing for it. So but it all falls into that being culturally conditioned. We got to get out of that. We have to.
I wanted to piggyback a little bit to the situation with y'all being on Alabama Avenue, and you were saying you guys worked hard to make sure that that situation was a little bit better. But I remember you gave me a little snippet of a conversation or a basically the chief had something to say about it, and you was like, whoa, you ain't had nothing to do with this work. So how did it go about?
The chief of police lied and tried to take credit for the work that me and my colleagues did.
Mm.
She said that she was the one who had all of that in place. And she wasn't even up to be chief at the time. She wasn't even chief.
mm,
But she tried to take the work, credit for the work that we did. I can find an email where I sent her a snippet because when I first heard about her trying to take work credit for the work that we did, um, she had participated in a First Friday meeting. And someone took the snippet and sent it to me of what she said. And I said, now wait a goddamn minute. I know she's not taking credit for us. I sent her an email about that and told her that she owed me and my colleagues apology.
mm.
She never, and I told her she owed us one publicly. She never responded to it. And then when I was on the phone talking to her, because she got upset that I was talking about how much money they make, you all make six figures. And here I am sending you an email that I sent one 2 weeks ago. Now I'm sending you another one, letting you know that there are serial killers who live around Congress Park. And you don't respond to my email, but you respond to an email that somebody had CC me on though, but you respond to an email about DDOT or DPW, but you don't respond to me telling you that we have serial killers in Ward 8.
Right.
And I started going in on them. And she was very upset. And she called and I missed her call. But when I had called her back, she had said, if I knew it was you, I wouldn't have answered the phone.
Oh.
And then she told me that my email was nefarious. I
Mm.
said, you sure that's the word you want to use? Nefarious? And then she started going into a whole lot of other stuff. And I told her, you worried about the wrong thing. And then that's when she started saying, because the work I did at the job, what work you did? You didn't do no work at that job. She said, I had the police there. They were already in place before you even came on to be chief. Before they were even trying to appoint you to be chief, we were already well into doing that work. So yes, the chief of police is a liar.
Oh.
Definitely a liar.
Oh my God. So before we go, right? We talked
Hmm.
about something, and I'm glad you touched on, the economic power that we have. But you made me go down a rant. You told me about something that happened. It was called the summer of 1919.
Yes.
Can you kind of educate the people and tell them what that was?
Yes, because my family members participated in that too. So that's how I initially found out about it. Um, so July the 19th, 1919, this was happening in a lot of states all around the US, but it happened here in Washington, DC. They don't talk about it. You
They don't.
might not even be able to find it anywhere.
Oh,
But
I found a
you
little bit.
oh, you found a little bit.
Bit.
So there was a white woman who was here July the 19th, 1919, and she was a nurse. and she was in Southwest Washington, D.C., and she tried to say that two black boys had tried to sexually assault her, like they touched her inappropriately. She had a husband that was in the military. I believe he was in the Navy, and he riled up some of his boys, but it was all planned. They was doing this from state to state. Riled up his boys, and they went around the city, and they were beating on our black people here, and they were killing them. What they didn't know was that our black men who fought in the war, they were coming home. They came home the next day. So they got involved. Now, mind you, they was taught all of this. They know how to use the guns like them. They did all of this. So they got involved. They was whooping so much ass here in Washington, D.C. that the gun stores didn't want to sell them guns anymore. So they had to go to Baltimore and get their guns and bring the guns back. Well, they became very strategic. They end up leading the mall because this went on for like 4 days here in the city,
Mm-hmm.
nonstop.
Yep.
And they ended up leading all of these races and these individuals, leading them uptown to around Leroy Park. And they wanted them to come up there specifically so that they could really take more control over them. So when they came up there, they had women and men on top of the buildings up there dropping cinder blocks off of the buildings, landed on their head. They were shooting at them. They killed a lot of white people here in Washington, D.C. That's what happened because these individuals came to our city and they tried to take our city over. And what these current individuals don't realize is we are the descendants of those who fought in that. So we're not just going to let our city get taken over either.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good history lesson because when I looked at it, I was like, wow. I mean, it kind of empowered me a little bit. I was like, man, if people only knew their history, and I mean, I remember when I graduated high school, we had to take DC history, but that wasn't in it.
Have you ever heard of Odessa Madre?
I just did 2 days ago.
Yeah, you gotta look her up too, man. She was
Yeah,
a very powerful black woman here in DC.
yeah,
And she was very powerful here during her time
yeah.
because she tried to do the right thing with her life. She couldn't. So she became a madam, and she was up in what they call Cowtown. She went to
Mm-hmm.
Dunbar,
Mm-hmm.
and she was up in what they call Cowtown, which was all up there by Dunbar and right off of Florida Avenue and everything. But she was a very strategic black woman.
Yes.
Now, back then, the Irish was treated like black people. They was
Mm-hmm.
poor white trash. So they
Mm-hmm.
had to live amongst us. So she made sure she went to school with a lot of them, and she made sure that a lot of them became public officials and police officers and stuff. So
Mm.
that they allowed her to do her business
The
and
word.
everything here in the
Yeah,
city. And
yeah,
she took care of them. And she
yeah.
took care of our community too.
Absolutely.
She was one of the most powerful women here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that, and I still think it's interesting to this day that I'm learning that I thought I would learn that when I would have learned when I was in school versus learning. So I mean, I'm not saying that teachers didn't do their job, but I'm just like, damn, why couldn't y'all taught us what we really needed to know versus what they wanted us to? Because it's a lot of shit that a lot of us don't know.
Our whole educational system is a farce. Everything. My daughter in school right now, she had homework for Christopher Columbus, that he discovered America. I was livid. And when I talked to her teacher about that, I said, listen, for the sake of her doing her assignment, she's going to do her assignment, but she's also going to include in her assignment that she is part Aboriginal.
Mm,
And I said, because what we know is that Christopher Columbus did not
did not,
find America.
did not.
And my family can be traced back to the Dawes Rolls. So we were Aboriginals here, the first people that were actually here. And we mixed with slaves and they fell in love and they created families. But I am part Indian, Aboriginal, not
Mm,
Native, Aboriginal, and part African American.
mm,
So I was livid to find out that this is what you all still teaching in schools. It's
yeah,
crazy to me that
yeah,
history is not being corrected yet
yeah.
still.
And
But we have the obligation to teach it in our own
no,
household.
yeah, I mean,
Because guess what they gonna be faced with? Your child too. They
right,
got Barron Trump, who's
right,
growing up as a racist,
right,
who's probably going to try to fill his father's shoes.
right,
So we got to be able to tell our kids about what's going on because it's going to come up again.
correct.
My grandmother used to always have conversations about this happening. I never thought in my life I would see this transpiring before my eyes.
Yeah,
I never thought that I would see so many biblical signs and symbols in all of this that is taking place. I thought that when this happened, that it was going to happen through, you know, my children's children, or maybe their children.
right,
Not in my lifetime.
right, right.
Yeah. So, woo.
So one of my last thoughts is, what do you think about like organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, and why isn't someone thinking that it's important to have trade schools back in school?
Because when they got rid of trade, they took away the ability for a man to make money with his hands. They took away the old fashioned way. You know how they say that prostitution is the
Yeah,
oldest job in the
yeah,
world? Okay. And I feel like having a trade is that for men and for some women. They took away the ability for you to be good with your hands and for you to be able to feed your family. They wanted us to rely on this system that just doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for people of color. It wasn't designed to. We have to create our own rules and regulations. We have to get more into getting land. We have to get more into putting our money together and do group economics. How do you think these slaves got free?
yeah,
How do you think they were able to build these towns? They
yeah,
were able to do this because they practice group economics. And then once we get it together, we got to learn how to shut the hell up because not everybody need to know what it is that we're doing. It
yeah.
don't need to be broadcasted everywhere. And this is what that man's meant when he said the revolution will not be televised.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't have to be broadcasted.
No, it don't have to be.
We got to find our ways of being free, but we got to be able to weed out the individuals who look like us that are Oreos. They black on the outside, but they white on the inside, and they don't care about us. They hate who they are. So they hate all of us collectively. Once we figure out how to determine who's for us and who's not for us that look like us, then we can really move forward as a people. But that's the most important thing because we are in trouble with this administration, and people really need to realize how serious that is. Do you know his big, beautiful bill has passed into law?
Yes.
And even though you can read it on the onset and you'll say, oh, but you know what? I don't see nothing wrong with this. But read between the lines. Ask yourself, but what if this was this way and then this was this way? We're not included in that big, beautiful bill.
Right.
Like, right now, he's taking away Parent Plus loans.
Right. I saw that.
My daughter depends on me getting that for her to complete her
Let's go.
education.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that. I was like, what the fuck?
Yes, he's trying to take that away. But you know what? In the beginning, that's all I said. Oh no, you need to get your college education, blah blah blah. You know what? I don't feel like no child needs a college education. I don't feel like you come out of school being in debt. Is that what you really want for your children?
Right.
And then some people have these degrees and they can't even get employment. And the way he's setting it up, he don't want you to get employment even if you got degrees. He
Exactly.
want us to be in the kitchen. He want us to be cleaning up buildings and floors. He want us to have black jobs. Don't forget he said that. He
Yeah.
want us to have black jobs.
That's facts.
And this is what he's working towards. So those individuals who are tuning in, and spread this to whoever. If you think that slavery is not the goal, if you think that coming and just taking over us is not the goal, then think again. Because by the time you realize it, it's going to be too late and you're going to already be in chains. They'll be at your door. And I don't know about you, but I'm shooting my way out.
Mm, I heard that.
Yeah, most
So
definitely.
so even with the home rule, the home rule, we got 2 weeks. So do you have any final I guess thoughts to DC residents on how they should for the next 2 weeks?
I think DC residents need to get together and have meetings on how we can put laws in place just by getting them on the ballot and bypass everybody.
Mm,
Because we can get laws, we can get initiatives placed on the ballot.
okay.
And I think that needs to start being our superpower to get in place what we need to have in place.
Okay.
Because the black faces that's in the high places here in DC, they don't care about us. They don't. They don't care about us. They care about themselves. And I don't know what this man has on this mayor, but he has something for her to be doing somersaults on the news the way she's doing.
Man,
It's something. He got something.
man.
He got something. But she didn't care about us no way.
I would have to agree with that.
Maybe that's her Caucasian side that don't
I
care.
I mentioned that saying that she's bad is a bad thing. I said, but I remember Anthony Williams. I remember Sharon Pratt. They was some shit.
Yeah.
They was some shit. And I'm like, she is some shit. Like she really, like you say, what a man. Oh, she had a oh for real? That's it?
Yes.
That's
The
all we
only
got?
the only good council person, the best council person Ward A has ever had in the history that Ward A has had a council is Wilhelmina Rollard. The
Wow.
best, hands down. Really cared about the people. They wanted her out the way because she really stood on business for people.
Yeah.
It
Her
wasn't about
her,
being counsel
her
for
name
her.
actually, came up in some of the reading that I was doing. So I was glad that we had the conversation because I was able to kind of dig up some information that I would have never read, wouldn't have had this conversation. So I feel like the more conversation that we have, maybe somebody that take their own time and dig up some information so they can have it and then regurgitate it to somebody else and then somebody else and then we could just keep it going because it should not have to be like this, but and so we got to figure out a way to get out of it. Real.
The only way we're going to get out of this is to cause a whole blackout throughout the United States and take our money. That's
Well,
the only way they're going to believe that we are serious about what we're doing
no,
is
it's
if we take our money out of this economy and let it all crumble.
it's something coming up on the 16th, 17th. I think it's the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Yeah,
Um,
but we need to do it longer than that. We
well,
need to do it for a year.
I think this guy is just trying to get
Get the
people
ball rolling.
get it started to see if we can keep it going. But I mean, we have to
Send
do.
me the information because I would love to talk to him. See, we
Um,
need we need we need more people who have a nice amount of followers. We
yeah,
need some people who are already at the top. Maybe some of these celebrities, they may do it, they may not, because it
right,
might affect their bottom line.
right.
Or even if people want to do it in secret, like we need your help.
Yeah,
You understand? Like we need your help
yeah,
because we got to start thinking about us now. And
yeah.
even though people want to act like, oh no, this has nothing to do with race, it has everything to do with race.
Yes. Yes.
Everything to do with race.
Yes.
And in order for us to survive, we got to put us first. And that means taking back our goddamn money. If they cannot appreciate us, they don't get our dollars.
I agree.
Spend black owned. And black owned businesses, please lower your damn prices, fix your customer service,
Yes.
provide good service because we're trying to send a bunch of money your damn way.
Yeah.
Like this is what we need to do. We need to take our money out of this economy and watch it crumble. Remember how it was during the pandemic here in Washington D.C. during the pandemic. The economy got so bad she opened up D.C. early. I
Yeah.
bet everybody remember that. Oh no, y'all can go out now. Just
Yeah.
wear your mask. And
Yeah.
this that, and the third. Yes, you can go out now. That's because wasn't nobody spending.
No money. Yeah.
It was disturbed. The money was fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, it's
We,
crazy
we
examples of that with COVID, but it's like nobody. It's like y'all forgot about that. It's
exactly.
nah, that really happened. Like they really was like, oh shit, we ain't making no money. Ain't nobody at work, paying all this money for these office space. Y'all gotta bring y'all ass back to work. Y'all go ahead and go
You
outside.
you know what it's like? You know what it's like? It's like carrying a baby for 9 months and all the pain and stuff you go through pushing that baby out. And then within a month, you done forgot what all that pain was.
Mm.
That's what it's like.
Mm.
That's what
I
it's
don't.
like.
I've never. I wouldn't know what that pain feels like. But I imagine what you're talking about. That's crazy.
That's what it's like. We got
That's
to wake up. As a
that's
people, we have to wake up. You know how the church say, slap your neighbor?
yeah.
Slap the shit out your sons and your daughters. Drag them by their motherfucking hair. Pull them in the house and let them know that this system is rigged against you. And
Yeah.
right now, you don't want to get locked up underneath this administration.
That's for sure.
Because if you get locked up underneath this administration, they may try to deport your ass. He is literally working to deport U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
And he's already altered our 14th Amendment,
I saw that
which is probably the only law in history that was created for us.
for us. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay?
Saw that.
So it's dangerous out here for us. Move like you know it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But
I
the
like
only way we can really do
move.
it
Know it's
is to
dangerous.
take our money.
I like that. Move like you know it's dangerous. I like that.
Move like you know it's dangerous.
I had to make up some shirts and put that on there. For real. That's that. I like that. Hey, look. Hey, Robbie. Look, it's always a pleasure, man. Um,
Yes, thank you.
I just. I mean, just from me to you. I, I, I have started to pray for you. I
Oh,
have
thank you.
because I know I know what happens to people who stand on what they believe, and
Yeah.
it's a history of it, right? And so I'm not saying that you know people don't hear you, but when you
Right.
talk to me, you put a
Mhm.
fire up under me. I'll be like, damn, hold on, maybe I don't hold on, what the fuck? Because I mean, it's like if we wouldn't have had that conversation, we wouldn't be on here now. I wouldn't have thought, hey man, I think people need to hear what's going on or get an idea of
Yeah.
what's what. So I just feel like I'm
Right.
safe. I mean, you take care of baby girl wisdom and just
Thank you. I will.
keep raising her up the right way. And what I'm gonna do is I know a few people in DC. Not sure how big on the totem pole they are, but I
Mhm.
will talk to them, reach out to them, and see if I can get y'all connected. I will reach out to the guy on TikTok, and I'll inbox him in the morning to see if he'll be willing to reach out to talk, just to talk to you, to kind of so he can go over what he's doing and what he would like to do. Maybe you would give him an idea too. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, please, because you know, one of the things that I did was I contacted like about 22 churches in DC so far. Like
okay.
I'm trying to contact because I want to do a call to clergy. Because remember the church used to be the backbone of the community.
Absolutely. You
I was kind of shocked at some of the conversations that I had with some of the churches because they're not really interested in having a meeting, and it's not their thing from what I was told. And it's so shocking how this has plummeted down. It's like religion and the fear of God is nowhere, and we need it. We need
yeah.
the fear of God. We need
Mhm.
it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna
Or the
do.
fear of whatever God people serving.
Oh yeah, go, go. But I'm gonna do what I can on my side
I
and
appreciate that.
with a few people, and I'll connect with you offline if it's worth us coming back after the 2 weeks to see if there's anything we can put out there, new information, program, or whatever. Then we'll share information with the people again and just kind of go from there.
Please, I need all the help I can get.
For sure, I got you. I got you.
Yep. I
Well,
thank you.
enjoy the rest of your night, and I definitely.
Same. All right. Take
All right,
care.
all right,
Bye bye.
all right, y'all.